I caught my sister Hailey wrapped around my boyfriend in my parents' backyard. A week before her wedding, his hands were under her blouse, her lips were on his neck. And the worst part, they didn't even notice I was standing there until I screamed. People called me paranoid, overdramatic. Even my own mom told me to stop being insecure, but I wasn't wrong. What would you do if the two people you trusted, most your boyfriend and your own sister, betrayed you in broad daylight? Because I lived it, and I'm still picking up the pieces. It started with laughter, not mine Hailey's. That overly loud, exaggerated kind she used whenever Eric cracked one of his dumb dad jokes. He's hilarious, she said once at dinner, her eyes practically sparkling. He wasn't. The joke had been about misplacing his car keys. At first, I brushed it off. My sister was getting married in a few weeks, and I figured she was just in a bubbly mood, overexcited, stressed. You know how brides get. But then the touches started, the way she'd put her hand on his arm a second too long or lean in to whisper something, even though she could have just said it out loud. It made my skin crawl. I remember one night we were at our parents' place for a casual dinner. Mom made meatloaf. Hailey looked stunning as usual in a white off-the-shoulder top and those gold earrings I once complimented that she never let me borrow. Eric had just finished telling a story about a construction mishap on site, and Hailey laughed so hard she nearly knocked over her wine. Then she wiped a drip off his shirt right over his chest. I froze, my stomach twisted into something sour. I looked at Eric. He didn't move away, just gave her a polite smile. Later that night back at our apartment, I confronted him. "Did you notice how Hailey was acting tonight?" I asked, trying to sound casual, but my voice shook. He looked up from brushing his teeth. "What do you mean?" I took a deep breath. "She's been off, laughing at everything you say, touching you, sitting next to you every chance she gets." Eric blinked, then laughed like I'd just said something absurd. "Babe, come on. It's Hailey. She's always like that." "No," I said firmer, "not like that." He set his toothbrush down, sighing. "You're reading too much into this. She's excited. It's her wedding month. You know how she is." I hated that he made it sound like I was the problem, like I was just being jealous or hormonal. But I let it go for now. I needed to be sure. So I started watching, closely. Every family dinner, every wedding errand, every bridal boutique appointment, I kept an eye out. And I saw everything. The way she always found a reason to ask him for help, lifting flower boxes, picking menu cards, accidentally spilling her drink, so he'd grab napkins. I saw the way her eyes lingered on him when he wasn't looking, the way her laugh turned breathy around him. She was testing the line. And Eric, he never seemed to notice. Or maybe he did and just didn't care. Either way, I felt myself unraveling. Was I imagining it? Was I losing my mind? I wanted to believe I was wrong. I needed to be wrong. But something inside me, the part that loved both of them, was screaming. And I couldn't silence it anymore. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying the way Hailey leaned into Eric, how he didn't flinch, didn't move. The look in her eyes when she laughed with him. Too warm, too familiar. Not sister-in-law to be, something else entirely. By the next morning, I had made up my mind I needed to talk to her. Not a text, not a passive-aggressive comment, a real face-to-face conversation, just the two of us. So I called her. "Hey," I said, forcing a smile into my voice. "You free for coffee later?" Haley's voice was chipper. "Sure, I was just going to show the florist some inspo pics, but I can swing by after. What's up?" "Nothing urgent." I lied. "Just sister stuff," she giggled. "Ooh, sounds mysterious." It wasn't. I picked a quiet little cafe near her place, one with big windows and soft music, somewhere that felt safe, familiar. We'd been there a dozen times growing up. Post-church hot chocolate study dates, even the time she cried over breaking up with her college boyfriend. But this time, it wasn't hot chocolate and hugs. This time, my hands trembled as I stirred my coffee. Hailey arrived 10 minutes late looking like she'd walked out of a bridal magazine. Glossy curls, flawless makeup, that smile that made everyone love her instantly. Everyone, including Eric. So she beamed, sliding into the seat across from me. 2 weeks until I do is. Can you believe it? I swallowed. "Hailey, we need to talk." Her smile faltered, just slightly. "Okay," she said slowly. "What's going on?" I looked her in the eye. "It's about you and Eric." Her brows furrowed, but her mouth stayed soft. "What about him?" I exhaled. You've been different around him, too much. The touches, the way you laugh, the glances. I've seen it, Hailey. She blinked, then laughed, but it was sharp this time. Then, you think I'm flirting with your boyfriend? She scoffed. Are you serious right now? Yes, I said quietly but firmly. Whether you realize it or not, you've crossed a line, and it's been making me uncomfortable for weeks. Her cheeks flushed red. Wow, okay. So now I'm the bad guy because I laughed at his jokes. It's not just that, and you know it. She folded her arms. You're insecure, Lauren. That's not my fault. That stung. I bit the inside of my cheek. I'm not accusing you of anything dramatic, I said, but you have been inappropriate and I need it to stop. There was a pause, long, cold. Then she stood. Her chair screeched loudly against the floor, heads turned. You know what, she hissed. If you don't trust your own sister, maybe you're the problem. Hailey, I started, but she was already walking out, tossing her scarf over her shoulder. I sat there stunned, coffee untouched, eyes burning, and for the first time, I wondered if I'd just lost my sister for good. I didn't hear from Hailey after that cafe. No texts, no calls, not even one of her passive-aggressive Instagram stories. Just silence. And it hurt more than I expected. She'd been my best friend growing up. We used to braid each other's hair, sneak Oreos into our bedroom at midnight, cry over boys and crushes and stupid high school drama. And now, she looked me in the eye, called me insecure, and walked out like I was nothing. The silence stretched for days, until my mom called. I didn't even get a hello. Lauren, she snapped, what on earth did you say to Hailey? I paused, unsure how much Hailey had told her. I just told her I was uncomfortable with how she's been around Eric. My mom gasped, actually gasped. You accused your sister Lauren, of trying to steal your boyfriend 1 week before her wedding. I didn't say that. I said, my voice trembling. I told her she was crossing boundaries. Well, it sounded like an accusation to her. She's been crying nonstop. You need to fix this, like it was a light bulb I'd knocked loose. She crossed a line, Mom, I said. I'm not imagining things. My mom's tone hardened. You're always so dramatic. Hailey is under stress. She adores you. This isn't like you, and there it was. This isn't like you. Code for we expect better from you. We believe her. I felt the heat rise in my chest. What if I'm right? I whispered. Silence, then flatly apologized to her Lauren. Before the wedding, this family doesn't need more chaos. I hung up without saying goodbye. I stared at the wall for a long time. And for the first time in a while, I felt truly alone, not just physically, emotionally exiled. My mom had chosen Hailey's tears over my truth. My dad, quiet as ever, said nothing. Eric tried to comfort me that night, but it felt forced. He rubbed my back in those slow, disconnected circles, the way you'd calm a dog afraid of thunder. She didn't mean to hurt you, he said quietly. She did, I replied. And you let her. He looked at me for a moment, then looked away. That silence between us, it was louder than anything either of us could have said. That weekend, I skipped the bridal shower. I said I had a migraine. In truth, I sat in bed, eating cereal out of the box and watching old Friends reruns, laugh tracks to fill the hollow spaces in my heart. Then came the rehearsal dinner invite. I stared at the envelope for an hour before tossing it in the trash. That night, I lay in bed beside Eric, listening to him breathe, wondering if I turned over and asked him point blank, have you ever thought about her? Would he lie? Or worse, hesitate. A week before the wedding, I drove to my parents' house. I didn't want to go, but Eric had forgotten his sunglasses there, and he insisted they were expensive and couldn't be replaced. I didn't argue, I just needed air, distance, anything to shake the heavy cloud pressing down on me. The house was quiet when I pulled up. Mom's car was gone, Dad's old truck too. I figured they were out running errands, maybe picking up centerpieces or tasting cake samples. I texted Eric to say I'd grabbed his shades. He sent back a thumbs up emoji. No heart, no thanks, babe. Just that. I should have known something was wrong. I started walking back toward the front door, but a sound stopped me, voices, muffled, low. They were coming from the backyard. I hesitated, then took a few careful steps toward the side of the house, letting my heels sink softly into the grass. I peeked around the corner and my heart stopped. Behind the big hydrangea bush, half shielded from view, were Hailey and Eric, entangled. Her arms were around his neck, his hands gripped her waist. They were kissing, not a friendly peck, not an accidental brush. This was hungry, familiar, intimate, and worse, her legs were wrapped around him. I couldn't breathe. I stood frozen watching the two people I trusted most consume each other like I didn't even exist. My fingers curled into fists, my entire body shook. And then I snapped, "What the hell is this?" My voice cracked mid-scream. They jolted apart like they'd been electrocuted. Haley's face went ghost pale. Eric stumbled back, eyes wide like a kid caught stealing. "Lauren, wait. It's not what it looks like," he stammered. "Not what it looks like?" I laughed a harsh, broken sound. "You had your tongue down my sister's throat." Haley stepped forward, her eyes brimming with tears. "Lauren, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for no," I said. Don't even try." I backed away, almost tripping over a hose. Eric followed, hands out like I was some wild animal that needed soothing. "Please, just let us explain what I choked out, that you've been lying to me, that you gaslit me for weeks." Haley started crying, real tears, ugly sobs. But I couldn't look at her. I couldn't look at either of them. "You told me I was paranoid," I whispered. "You made me feel crazy." Neither of them said anything, so I turned and I ran. I don't remember unlocking my car, don't remember driving. I just remember the sound of my heart pounding in my ears and the blur of my vision as tears spilled down my cheeks. When I got home, I packed a bag in silence. Toothbrush, jeans, passport, even though I had nowhere to go. Then I texted Eric, "We're done, don't contact me." I powered my phone off and left. I checked into a hotel 45 minutes outside the city, a quiet place with beige walls and a continental breakfast no one really eats. I didn't need luxury, I needed space, silence, time to remember how to breathe. I didn't turn my phone back on for 2 days. When I finally did, it buzzed nonstop. Missed in calls from Eric, 12 from Haley, a string of messages from Mom guilt-tripping me, begging me to stop being dramatic, and one particularly biting line. "You've always had a jealousy problem, Lauren." Right. Because catching your sister dry humping your boyfriend is obviously rooted in envy. I deleted every message, but one name haunted me. Jacob, Haley's fiancé, the one person no one seemed to be thinking about. The man standing at the altar in 6 days, promising his forever to a woman who was making out with her sister's boyfriend behind a bush. I stared at his contact for a long time. I didn't want to be the one to break him, but he deserved the truth. So I called. He answered on the third ring, his voice cautious. "Lauren," "Yeah," I croaked. "Hi, are you okay?" Haley said. "You disappeared. Your mom's been worried." I closed my eyes. "Jacob," I whispered, "I need to tell you something. And I'm so sorry." Silence, then softly, "What happened?" So I told him, all of it, from the flirting to the denial to the backyard. I left nothing out. Not the way they touched, not the way they gaslit me, not the way my entire world cracked in half under the weight of their betrayal. He didn't interrupt once, just listened. At one point, I heard him breathe in sharply, but he said nothing. When I finally finished, the line went quiet, and then in a low, calm voice, he said, "Thank you. I had a feeling something was off. I just didn't want to believe it." "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I didn't want to be the one to hurt you." "You didn't," he replied. "They did." Click. He ended the call. I sat on the bed, still clutching the phone, my fingers stiff. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat in the quiet, staring at the wall, wondering what Jacob would do now, and what kind of firestorm was about to hit. I didn't go to the wedding. There was no way. Even if I had been invited, which surprise I wasn't, just the thought of sitting in that pew, watching Haley walk down the aisle in white lace, pretending nothing happened. It made me nauseous. So I stayed in the hotel, curled up in a too-firm bed with blackout curtains drawn and my phone on silent, until it rang. Alyssa, my cousin, loud, loyal, and famously bad at keeping secrets. I picked up, unsure what I was ready to hear. "Oh, she whispered, breathless. "You will not believe what just happened." My stomach dropped. "What, Jacob?" "He stopped the wedding." I sat up. "What do you mean he stopped the wedding?" She lowered her voice like she was hiding in a church closet. He walked to the altar, looked right at Hailey, then turned to the crowd and said, "Before we begin, I need to say something." Everyone got quiet. You could hear a pin drop. I covered my mouth. "No way." Alyssa kept going. "He said he couldn't marry someone who could betray her own sister. That trust is everything. That you. Lauren tried to speak up and no one listened. I couldn't breathe. Then she continued. He turned to Aunt Patricia and Uncle Richard. "You know your parents," and said, "You need to know why Lauren walked away. She saw the truth, and I didn't believe her until it was too late." My chest tightened. I gripped the phone harder. Alyssa sniffed. Hailey started crying, like full meltdown. "Your mom looked like she'd been hit by a truck." Everyone started whispering. "I think someone's aunt fainted." And Jacob, I asked. He left, just walked right out of the church, left her standing there, alone. I leaned back against the headboard, stunned. It was real. Someone finally believed me. Not just privately, not behind closed doors, but publicly, loudly, when it mattered most. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Are you okay?" Alyssa asked softly. "I don't know," I whispered. "I feel seen, but also wrecked." We talked a bit more. She promised to call again later, promised to bring me leftover cake and drama updates. After we hung up, I sat there staring at the ceiling. The truth had come out, but it hadn't fixed anything. Hailey's wedding was in ruins. My family was fractured. Eric had disappeared. I hadn't heard from my mom since the explosion, but for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could exhale. And I wasn't crazy. It's been 3 weeks since the wedding that never was. I haven't spoken to Hailey, not once. She tried texting me once, just 2 words, "I'm sorry." But I couldn't bring myself to reply, not yet, maybe not ever. My mom hasn't reached out either, not since the day Jacob exposed everything. Alyssa said she looked shell-shocked walking out of the church, clutching her pearls like someone had robbed her at gunpoint. Maybe in a way someone had. The illusion of her perfect daughter, her picture-perfect family. It was gone now. I've been staying in a short-term rental closer to work. A little one-bedroom with yellow walls and creaky floors, but it's mine. Quiet, safe, no more second-guessing myself every time someone laughs too hard at Eric's jokes. Speaking of Eric, he never followed up after that final text, not even an email. And honestly, that silence is the most honest thing he's ever given me. Jacob and I exchanged one more call just a few days after everything. He thanked me again, said he was still processing. He sounded tired but clear. I asked him what he planned to do next. I'm not sure he said, but I'm glad I found out before it was too late. Me too. Therapy has become part of my routine now, every Thursday at 5:30. My therapist, Camille, says it's normal to grieve not just the relationship, but the version of my life I thought I had. "Trust is like glass," she said. "When it breaks, even if you glue it back together, the cracks stay visible." She asked me once, "Would you ever forgive Hailey?" I didn't answer, because some days I think maybe I could. And other days I remember the backyard, her legs wrapped around my person, her tears only when she got caught. That's not sisterhood. That's betrayal. Still, I'm trying to heal, to breathe without bracing for impact, to walk into a room without scanning for threats and familiar faces. It's lonely, but it's also real. And for now, and that's enough. Sometimes the hardest part of betrayal isn't what they did, it's how easily they looked you in the eye while doing it. Hailey was my sister. Eric was someone I thought I'd build a life with. And somehow they both looked me in the face day after day while hiding the ugliest truth right beneath the surface. The people closest to you can break you in ways strangers never could. But here's what I've learned. Your instincts matter. Your boundaries matter. You matter. No one believed me until the moment was undeniable, and even then the damage had already been done. So now I ask you, what would you do if your own sister betrayed you like this? Would you forgive? Would you walk away forever? Or would you hold on to the hope that people can change even after tearing your heart in two? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stories, your truths, your I knew it moments. And if this story hit home for you, don't forget to subscribe for more real life betrayals, red flags, and raw honesty because sometimes healing starts with being heard.